The homeless population is continuously growing, day after day, week after week. The problem is no one is willing to help. We see them on the side of the road and immediately lock our car doors and pray for the light to turn green. Today, I want you to break from all your perceived notions as we explore the lives and stories of a few individuals who have happened to become homeless. I want to welcome you to a facility that genuinely wants to help the homeless. I want to welcome you to the Bob Janes Triage and Low Demand Shelter right here in Fort Myers, Florida.
My name is Tim McCormick. I'm the director of this program and a couple others for the Salvation Army. I oversee all the operations here.
My name is Pam Berry. I've been working for the Salvation Army since 1993. I actually started off down on Edison Avenue. I am currently the program manager out here at the Triage Low Demand Shelter.
My name is Janet Pittman and I'm a clinician here at the Triage Center. I'm employed by Southwest Florida Addiction Services.
My name is Beverly Condon. I'm a nurse case manager with the Salvation Army Bob Janes Triage Shelter.
In order for an individual to be able to safely reside at the center, they must first undergo psychosocial assessments. The average length of stay at this shelter is 21 days. The program is modeled after a 24/7 no-refusal drop-off for law enforcement. The current model allows intake from 7:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. and can hold 58 individuals at any given time. To provide a safe and secure emergency shelter 24 hours a day, the Bob Janes Triage and Low Demand Shelter has monitored technicians, video surveillance, and locked electronic access. 95% of sheltered bed nights are safe from incidents resulting in traumatic injury in Phase 1. In Phase 2, 95% of participants will receive a medical screen. In fact, out of the 571 duplicated clients, 99.29% were completed. 95% of the participants will receive substance abuse and mental health assessments. 87% of unduplicated clients received a substance abuse and mental health assessment as well.
We started out as a 22-bed operation, and the way they accessed the program was through law enforcement. Either any law enforcement agency in the county could drop off folks. We also brought in folks through Lee Memorial Hospital. Because that they supplied the nurses, a lot of the folks that they were seeing in the ER had no place to go. So as long as they gave them a medical clearance, they could bring them out to our location, and they transported by taxi cab.
The triage provides an alternative for law enforcement officers who otherwise would have arrested these individuals for low-level offenses. They also work with the local hospitals to provide an option for them to recover from alcohol and substance abuse.
Basically people in need wherever they might be in their lives. About 90% of the people that come in here are homeless, but not all of them. Some of them have just found themselves in a tight spot for whatever reason. And I think that's the thing about the triage, is because it's not just, people don't come in here for just one issue. It may be they got evicted from the house, and then we find out that maybe they've lost their job, and we find out that there may be some drug or alcohol addiction in the past, or we find out that they were at one time on disability. And then as we delve deeper into the client's past, we may find out there's an underlying mental health disorder. So we're able to start finding ways to work with that person to get them back functioning again in the community.
They come in, and as you saw in the outline of the program, they come in and they sleep on cots for the first few days. We engage them, our case managers will engage them, see if they're interested in treatment, or if they need help getting home, or they need mental health surgery, whatever it is. We work towards that end in order to get them, back into the community as productive people, or at least in housing, because as I said, a lot of them are homeless.
More facilities like this that should be opened up throughout the state. Florida's 49th in mental health and drug addiction, alcohol treatment. We're 49th. That's not very good. I think we need to strive for better, opening up more facilities and offer more help to people, especially in the difficult times that we're going through right now.
For a lot of them, they're coming off the street. They're not accustomed to having showers every day. They're used to living in the woods. And so when they come in here, they're allowed to shower and clean up and get some food.
Right here for a program like this is around 48%. It's the last estimates the last statistics that we've done. And nationwide for a program like this, it's about 26. So we've done a really good job, and a lot of that is because of our community partners. I mean,
Community partners are Lee County Board of County Commissioners, Salvation Army, Lee Memorial Health Systems, Lee Mental Health Center, Southwest Florida Addiction Services, and United Way. 94% of all individuals entering the low-demand shelter have been homeless. 571 were admitted, while 408 of these were unduplicated admissions. 213 were placed, and 132 of those went to rehabilitation programs, halfway houses, or supportive housing. 42 clients were reunited with family. 37 of those individuals were locally situated, while 5 were sent out of state. The national placement average is 25%. Bob Jane's Triage and Low-Demand Shelter has a placement rate of 44%, and over 75% were successfully linked with resources.
My name is Benjamin Mueller, and I'm from the South. I've been all over, and I've been here for 5 years now.
My name is Matthew Wood. I'm 24 and I'm from New York.
Magdalene Hernandez.
Where are you from?
Southwest Detroit, Michigan.
My name is Clyde Battle. I was raised in Fort Myers. I was born in New York State of New York.
Well, I'm Walt Warner. I'm from Burlington, Vermont. Came down here with money saved. I was a counselor for 3 years at the Turning Points, drug and alcohol abuse counselor. And I've been sober for a lot of years, so I have the intensity to help people because I've been there. And I came down here with money, rented a hotel for a month. I found a house, so I was going to put 3 months rent down and security. And I took the money out of the bank, $4,800, and I had to go to the hospital. In the middle of the night, I got out of my bed, and my foot got caught on the sheet, and one of my vertebrae collapsed. So they took me to the hospital. And the ambulance people, I didn't even think about money or any of that stuff. It was in my hotel room. I thought I'd be okay, and I was robbed of $4,800. I became instantly homeless.
To get married. Instead, I got abused. I kept taking them back and taking them back. We both had incomes. And this last time when he got out of jail, last month, November, he got out, beat me again. And without his income, I couldn't make the rent. And I was evicted. And since he was in jail, and I was badly bruised, I'm a lung patient, I only have 1.5 lungs. ACT wouldn't take me because he's got felonies, he's going to be away for a while, and I'm not in danger right now. So I ended up here.
I actually came down, stayed with my cousin, and she lives down in Bonita. And we came down for vacation, and she ended up stranding me and my cousin down here with no money, no place to go. So we were kind of homeless. We kind of bounced from Bonita to Naples and then to Fort Myers. And we went to Salvation Army, and they told us about this place, and the cops came and they picked us up, because that's how you have to do it. You know, you have to call, and they bring you down here, and this place is getting me on my feet.
No problem with drinking. Every time I drink, it's few and far between, but every time I do, there's negative consequences, you know. So I got arrested the first time I drank, which was in June, and this whole thing, and I came here and I went to Crossroads, and then I did Crossroads for 5 months, was in a halfway house, drank again, and this place is helping me get into a rehab.
I've just been released from prison. I served 20 years. When I got released, I had no resources, nothing. I had no money, no family support or anything, nowhere to go. I was without anything but the clothes on my back and the notes that paperwork that I brought with me.
I think I started being homeless when I was like 7 to begin with, you know, because of family difficulties. And then through the years we deal with alcoholism and then prisons and everything else. And, you know, off and on it's one thing or another. It's cumulative for my whole life. I actually thought about committing suicide, ended up in the hospital, and they sent me here because I had nowhere to go.
In and out of the county jails because of cocaine. This was in the late 80s, early 90s. I finally got a handle on things, but only for a short time, until I relapsed. Some people can leave it alone. It seemed like every time I fell off the wagon, I had to be locked up to quit. A school where I acquired my CDL, truck driver's license, and I drove a truck for about 10 years and stayed clean, was being a productive member of society again, and then cocaine came back in my life again.
Well, there's a certain part of them that there's a stigmatism stuck with the word homeless by itself. I mean, you can't get away from it. As people sleeping in corners with lots of clothes on and trying to grub money, I think a lot of people view homeless that way. But then some people are more understanding. They might have more experience with it or know somebody, and it can happen to anybody.
I guess people don't, when they think of a homeless person, they think of, like, you know, 55-year-old drunk in a gutter with a big beard, natty hair or something. You know, they don't realize that, like, one bad decision that you make or something out of your control could wind you up on the street, and then trying to find a job from the street is, like, really bad because it's really hard, you know.
Well, I became homeless myself, and I was a firefighter paramedic for over 20 years, and yeah, it was amazing how differently I was treated when I was working, becoming an alcoholic and living on the streets. I wasn't viewed very highly. I wasn't treated very nicely, but at the same token, I kind of put myself in that through some of the things that happened to me in my career. I went into depression and full-blown alcoholism. So I think the general public, to answer your question, views it as they view the situation, and I don't think they view the person. You know, everybody in this world has a story, and if they took the time to get to know the people who are homeless, doesn't necessarily mean they're bad people. There is people who choose to live in that type of atmosphere, and that's a free will choice. And the people who don't want that to be their choice, we are here to help them change that.
I think you have a lot of folks that, you know, will give and volunteer to help, but most people, you know, they're walking around the street, oh, those are just a bunch of bums. They don't understand that a lot of these folks, granted they might have substance abuse programs, and some of them created their situation, but a lot of them have serious mental health issues, and they just can't cope. And there is not a lot of help for them out there. I mean, placing people into programs, into substance abuse treatment, into mental health services, into housing, sending them back to their loved ones wherever they're from, because we have funds to do that. You know, right now we're a little short on that type of money, but that we get them ID cards just so they can start the process for Social Security. I mean, we institute a lot of benefits for them. So those are the kinds of things. I mean, we really have helped a lot of people. More so they probably wouldn't have been helped if we weren't here. I know they wouldn't have been helped if we weren't here.
It's a hard thing to have people come say, you know, one guy told me he slept in the porta potty. So, you know, it's kind of upsetting to me.
The biggest impact it's had on me is the hundreds, probably over 1,000 people I've seen come and go. Some people come back and actually thank us, and their success stories. So the success, you know, we can always, if you can help somebody out, we had a Vietnam veteran come in here. It's one of the ones I remember. Got addicted to painkillers, being hit by shrapnel, and was well off. He had nice house, nice things. He wanted to go to Bay Pines, which is a facility where the veterans go to Tampa, and it's just set up for them to get drug rehabilitation and alcohol rehabilitation, as well as mental problems. And he tried to leave twice, and I stopped him, and I said, the third time I won't stop you. These doors are unlocked. And he stayed and came back with his wife and pretty much shook my hand crying. So that's one of the many success stories. But as many people as we've put through here, I don't always hear if they're successful or not, but hope they are. And sometimes we see them more than once and twice, and you never know when they're going to get the help that they need.
Well, because I've been with the Salvation Army for so long, I truly believe in its mission. Ministering to the homeless has always been a passion of mine.
What motivates me is to actually see people that I know, and people that I don't know, get the help that they need, because alcohol addiction and drug addiction left untreated is fatal. And I've been to many funerals, people I've known that die from the disease of alcoholism and drug addiction. So that motivates me, that one person.
Well, I think it's what we do for the folks, like I said.
I had an individual come in here approximately 5 months ago today and went into cardiac arrest right outside that door. And I had the opportunity to perform CPR on him, me and the nurse, and basically save his life because he was in full-blown cardiac arrest. I actually know the individual very well prior to him being in that situation, so I see him now as I see him in meetings outside of this place where he is getting sober, and that's a huge motivation for me. I don't know if he ever will get sober or remain sober. Getting sober is easy, remaining sober is the hard one. That's a motivation for me, helping others, because I needed help myself at one point, and I still do. I mean, I don't have this my disease of alcohol. I hope I never graduate from learning, so that really helps me stay sober, to see others. To be honest with you, that's it.
Reach out to whoever you can, whenever you can.
That the funds need to come in, because in Detroit, we don't have facilities like this. And it was a blessing, because I thought I was going to have to live on the street.
So you're saying that you're lucky to be in this facility?
I am very blessed. I mean, God put me here. And it's for a reason, because now they're going to get me housing, they're getting me counseling, and I'm very blessed.
What the state has for help being homeless is incredibly valuable, because I would be sleeping on the beach right now, and take advantage of what the state has to offer if you need it. Don't be ashamed, and don't feel that homeless is a stigmatism that you have to worry about, because if it happens, it happens.
Get out there and try to help people like me and like everybody that's here. We're all human beings, we all have road bumps, we all been through so much in our life, just help us some way, even if it's a little bit of money here and there to get us beds, to get us clothes, anything, Anything works. It's better than being on the streets, so.
Don't do drugs. Don't stop.
No, don't do drugs, man. I mean, just stay away from partying. You can party, but don't cross that line to where it's that's your life.
The fact is that places like this are great, but the truth is that there is more to the homeless that people need to know about their addictions, their family backgrounds, the things they have that lead them to this. It's a whole lot more than just losing a house. It's a whole life that always leads to something like this. I want them to know that there's more than just feeding them. more than just, you know, give them some clothes. It's a combined effort through the whole community with your AA, your NA, with social services, whatever it means, you know, your mental services, you know, it's a lot more than just one thing. And we have to look at the whole picture, not just see that one person, you know.
Fact is, when I went to prison, I was a drug addict, and I was homeless. I didn't have a permanent residence, living in Orlando, Florida, you know, sleeping around the streets and in different motels and different missions. And I was an addict at the time, but you know, after serving time in prison and coming out of prison, you know, I don't have any intents to pursue a criminal lifestyle at all. As a matter of fact, I'm really working hard to try to establish myself in society as a positive, active citizen, productive in each and every way. You know, so I mean, because I'm homeless, it doesn't mean that I'm not, you know, looking down on the society or the people that are successful or law enforcement or anybody. I just want to be able to have my chance to live a productive life.
Just be more receptive to people who were less fortunate than you, you know, because some of us are just a paycheck or, you know, $1 away from being knocking on our front door.
They volunteer, give your time, come and understand what this is all about, really see what we do. I mean, you know, it's a hard job. I don't pay people a lot of money. It's the Salvation Army. We're a nonprofit, but most of the people love what they do, and a lot of folks that we hire have come out of homelessness, so they have an understanding of what it's about, so they have a heart for it. But people that haven't lived it, I think they really need to discover what they can do to help the community. I think it's important.
Well, they get me in a TLC, which has got like a stable halfway house. I've heard of it. Transitional living center, 28-day rehab.
I've seen these people's willingness to help me as much as they possibly can. I've seen a willingness on behalf of certain other organizations and groups that a lot of people might not be, you know, aware of, that I found out through being here, that I found out about since I've been here.
One of the biggest problems we have here at the Triage is, and basically that's what we are. We're a triage. They come in, we try to find them a program to get into, or housing to get into, something that's going to be a temporary or hopefully permanent fix, but temporary because there's only a couple of treatment programs in town. I mean, I can get people in the door, but getting them out the door is a different story. The waiting list for the two major short-term treatment programs, SWAFIS and Lee Mental Health, can be anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks, depending on bed space. It's very hard to find treatment programs here in town. I don't think you're going to find anybody that disagrees with me there. Mental health, there's not a lot of services for mental health. Ruth Cooper, or Lee Mental Health, does an excellent job, you know, trying to reach the population. It's just that there's so many out there right now. It's overwhelming. So services, more services. If I can get more services going out that we have available now, that would be a big help.
Well, we seem to be constantly going through towels are the big thing, linen.
Last year we were able to expand from 22 beds to this facility, 58 beds. And Lee Mental Health had an empty building. We were able to get a grant to renovate it, and now we're here. Now we have to continue funding. I know one of the questions involves, you know, what do we need help with? Well, we need help with funding, because right now I'm trying to intertwine 3 or 4 grants. They all kind of come up at different times, but you know, everyone wants sustainability. So somehow or another, we're going to have to come up with one way or another to sustain this program. And I don't know that the county has funds, so the public can certainly help with that in that effort.
I think the community needs to be educated and maybe volunteer more.
Money would be a good thing to have, you know, for nutritious meals and more activities for the people to do while they're here, other than just watching TV, and funds for bus passes to go out and look for work and housing and things like that would be good.
More towels and more wash rags. Because we seem like we run out of them like that. So yeah, more linen.
Second, I got my license back. It was suspended, revoked for 2 years because of some of my charges that I had. And so calling everybody, any lead I could get, Craigslist, Jobs USA, you know, I ran into a lot of problems because of my criminal history. And of course, I didn't have any recent driving experience. And those were two big hurdles at Walmart. And then I started going down the list of numbers I had. The first number I called was about a driver job. The guy needed a driver to pull flatbed trucks. I'm not that experienced with flatbed trucks. I pulled into that, and I told him that. And I asked him if he tarps his loads on flatbeds. You have to tarp a lot of loads. And he says, he's told me yes. And I said, well, I don't have any experience with that. I don't want to waste your time, and so have a good day. So I hung up. I was kind of abrupt because I didn't think I was going to get hired anyways. So I went down the rest of my list, and no one was in the office. They all wanted to read messages. The next thing you know, my phone rings from the doc, and here's this first guy I called, and everything. I told him about being locked up for the past 5 years, no recent driving history because of that. My criminal history, and he said, I think I can work with that. And I was flabbergasted. So I'm going up to Tampa to pick up my truck, the one I'm going to drive. And I'll be leaving here in a few days.
I got to get back on my feet, so this is an interesting step and journey in my life. I've never been arrested, never been in jail, never had any problems with the law, so I want to get back to the counseling. I'd like to come back here and work here at some point if I can.
I've had a lot of instances where I've known friends that got killed and everything. Homeless people that got killed just for fighting over spots under bridges, over their drugs, their alcohol, everything else, you know. Whether or not it be their cans they're saving or something, you know. It's, people think that they're just out there bumming and stuff, but they're fighting for every nickel and dime they can get.
I don't think they're aware that it is as big a problem as it is, because a lot of the homeless are not out in the general public, or if they are, people aren't aware that they are actually homeless, because some of them are very well dressed. I have folks that, you know, you couldn't tell that they were homeless unless, you know, you ask them, you know, where do you live?
I think they need a lot more places like this, because there's a lot of homeless people out there. I met quite a few people just being on the streets myself for the 3 days that I was out on the streets. Being on the beach and meeting people, and actually like walking down the street and seeing people like ask people for money and stuff. And you know, it's hard to see people like that because I've been in their shoes. It's difficult.
There should be more places like this, especially for victims like me. They have no family. I'm all alone. I thought I was all alone here, but I realized now I'm not. And I gave up. I wanted to die until I came here.
I thank God that the Salvation Army has a place like this.
Isn't that a majority of people are homeless or alcoholics or are in the state that they're in at the current time? There was something else that had to provoke, you know, that had to cause this thing to occur for them to be where they are. Not to blame anybody, per se. Not to put the blame on anybody else or anything. But it's just some people have different ways of dealing with, you know, the crises that they encounter in life. Everybody is not strong enough psychologically to, you know, face life head on and just, you know, pick themselves up and carry on like there's nothing to it. But you have to be understanding. You have to try. You have to try to help people. If a person doesn't want help, okay, you know, that's fine. But there are plenty of people out there in the streets that want help, that want a chance. They really want to make a change in their lives. They really want to take their lives to another level. A lot of those people are not satisfied with where they are. But as I said, the emotional dysfunctions are there. The emotional setbacks in there. There's a history of something in their lives. They weren't born homeless, They didn't just wake up one day and decide to be homeless, the majority of them. But for various types of reasons, people are in the conditions that they're in, and we just see the individual on the street, but we don't see the cause. We just see the effect.
It's hard to look somebody in the face that you know they have nothing.
Don't toot your nose up at them, because you never know, one day it can happen to you too.